Your pain is your pain. And so I just want to tell anybody out there watching this live right now, I feel for you. But I do want to tell you that your life isn't over. I do want to tell you that there's more to your life. I do want to tell you that you can turn that grief into greatness. And if it's somebody that's special that died in your life, you're obligated to. And I'll tell you why here in a little bit. But grief is like an ocean, right? It comes in waves. And, you know, I have my days, like early this morning, man, it hit me strong. I have my days where I can talk about people who have died in my life and I can smile about it because I rejoice and celebrate their name. Then I have days where I'm just sad. But grief is like that ocean. You know, it comes and goes, and sometimes those waves, right? Those waves are strong. Sometimes those waves are not as strong. Sometimes those waves are at ease or at calm. But I realize at the end of the day, grief is like that ocean. And it's like sometimes you feel all alone in your grief, right? You feel like, man, where does this end? You know, when does this thing get better? And you're waiting. And this is something I've known about life. And this is kind of a side note while it's on my heart, because I know a lot of you right now, you're waiting for better to show up. And this week, we're going to talk about how to make the most out of this year and next year. But you're waiting for better to show up. You're waiting for your healing to show up. You're waiting for that peace to show up. And you're waiting for better to show up. And I realize better doesn't show up until you create the better in your life. You know, better is a choice. You know, better is a decision. You know, better is deciding that I'm going to create the better right now. Even in my pain, even in my what seems like brokenness, I'm going to create the better right now in my life. And so I want to tell you this, man, like what's helped me, because in grief, you have a choice. You can either sink or you can swim. And trust me, I know it's hard to swim. I know you might be sinking in regret. You might be sinking in sadness. You might be sinking in all these things that are flooding your mind. And I know how hard it is. But I want to tell everybody on this live right now, you got the choice to swim. And you got to swim. You might say, Trent, well, what do I swim with? And so this year has taught me. So I want to talk about 4 things that's really helped me swim, even in the strongest tides, the strongest waves, when it just kept hitting me and hitting me. How do I keep swimming with my life? I want to talk about 4 things that really help me swim, and maybe this will help you. And again, it doesn't mean that it's going to get easier, but what it does mean is that you're going to get stronger. The first thing that helped me learn how to swim was perspective. And y'all hear me talk about this a lot. And perspective is something that's always in your control. And my perspective at first was, man, like I lost my mom. I'm never going to be able to talk to her again. I'm never going to be able to just pick up the phone and text her randomly. I'm never going to be able to take her out to eat. I'm never going to be able to do none of that. She's never going to be able to hear me speak. She's never going to see my kids graduate. She's never, all these things, right? And I stayed there. And even though those things are true, how are those things serving my life? And grief was was programming me to think like that. And so I was just thinking about the loss. I was thinking about the lack. I was thinking about so much that I didn't even see the beauty in my mother's life. I wasn't able to celebrate because I was mourning, and we're going to go through seasons of mourning for people. So I'm not trying to tell you that you shouldn't mourn, because we're going to mourn. I still mourn at times. But what I realized was my perspective. I had a choice, and I still have a choice. And I'm very, 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 very intentional with my perspective. Because just as easy I can say, man, I just got 36 years with my mom. That's not fair. I know people that got 50 years with their parents, 40 years with their parents, 55 years with their parents. That's not fair. Just as well as I can say that, I can say, man, at least I got 36 years with my mother. There's people out there that didn't even get a year with their mom. Their mom isn't even in their life. They don't even know their mother. At least I got 36 years with my mom. At least I got to play football with one of my best friends. At least I got 36 years with my grandmother, 20-something with my grandfather, 20-something, right? And so I realized that my perspective is everything. If I want to turn my grief into greatness, and I'm going to tell you what I mean by that in a minute. If I want to turn my grief into greatness, I got to look at it like that. I got to look at ways that I can celebrate her life, that I can celebrate their life, that I can celebrate his life. If I want to be able to remove myself from just the pain and move into more power in my life. Because the truth is, man, and this might seem like very harsh to say, but life goes on. The time ain't ticking for nobody. My bills were still coming in. You know, the time was still ticking. The calendar was still moving. The sun was still rising. The moon was still shining. Days were still going. The calendar was still flipping. Didn't nothing stop. Things kept going. And so I realized that my perspective has to be my power in this situation. I got to be able to look out and see everything that I can celebrate those that I lost with. Number two, the second thing that really helped me when it came to grief is community. Don't suffer in silence. I know a lot of you might be thinking, man, nobody understands, nobody cares. Some people might not care, right? Nobody's going to be there for you. Don't suffer in silence. One of the best things that helped me in this season was finding community. And sometimes that community was 1 or 2 people. It wasn't 30, it wasn't 20. But I found someone in my life, a few people that have been through what I went, that had went through what I was currently going through at that time. So I called them. I let them know how I feel, what I was struggling with. Because one of the best ways to keep yourself in a prison of pain is to keep your suffering silence. It's to keep your battle silent. And some of us, we've been dealing with this alone. And you haven't reached out to nobody because maybe you don't want to bother them. Maybe you're, afraid to reach out, or maybe you don't want people to know how you feel, right? Whatever it may be for you. But you got to find community. You got to find someone or some people or a group or a church group, or like I said, one person. You got to find someone to be able to express yourself with. Because anything you suppress will turn into depression. So me, therapy. With me, friends. How you doing, Trent? I'm not doing good. In my grief, I understood that it was okay to not be okay. It was okay to be real about where I was at. Because oftentimes when people ask us how we doing, we just say, oh, we good. We're fine. And we're lying. So I got to a point in my life this year where I tell people, like, I'm not good. I'm struggling. It hurts. I'm depressed. I need help. I need help is some of the most powerful words in your life. It's okay to need help. If you lost somebody you loved, right? Somebody you love, a mother, a father, a friend, a cousin, coworker. There's been thousands of deaths from COVID, everything. I see it all the time in my inbox. You probably can look on the live right now. If you lost somebody, you're going to go through trauma. You're going to go through hurt. You're not supposed to be okay. I know people tell you to stay strong, especially men in here. To my men, we are battling depression more than anybody else because we have this code that we got to be strong for everybody. And I know how you feel. I'm the head of my household. So if my household sees me breaking down, then dang, who they got to lean on? But you know what? I had conversations with my kids. I had conversations with my wife. I had conversations with my family and said, hey, Dad is going through it right now. Dad lost Mom. But I'm going to tell you something. You're going to see Dad continue to push through. Because I want to let you know it's okay to have emotions. It's okay to have feelings. It's okay to not be okay at times. So I want to tell you right now, man, don't suffer in silence with this. Get the help you need. Ask for help. If it's just somebody that you need to talk to, right? They ain't got to even say a word. You can say, hey, I don't need no advice from you. Can you just listen? I just need an outlet. Some of us, that's what we need because we are keeping everything in and we're not putting anything out and we're suffering. The third thing that helped me, and if you feel any value of this, if you feel like, man, Trent, I haven't lost nobody, man, share this with somebody who might need it. Because I know a lot of people right now are going through it, like 1,000%. The third thing that helped me was my environment. Helped me turn my grief into greatness. was my environment. You know, I like to call it developing your sanctuary for your healing.
I can't do that because communications is
What? Siri's over there talking.
You can enable it under device settings in the Alexa app.
Your sanctuary for your healing. Whatever that may be, for me, it's nature. You know, I believe nature heals. I go out there in nature. I'm able to cry. I'm able to talk. I feel more connected to the people that I lost in my life. I'm able to talk to God. But what's your environment? Because some of us, I talked about this Saturday, we don't have a disconnection. We're always connected to our job. We're connected to going and going and going. We just try to stay busy not to deal with it. And what you don't deal with will eventually deal with you. So you got to create your environment for your healing. What is that for you? Maybe the environment is a walk around the block. Maybe it's a walk at night. I call them conversations with God. A walk in the morning, conversations with God. Just to give you time to reflect. Give you time to disconnect from all the energy around you, all the people around you. Create your environment for your healing. I was about to say the place that I go to in Fort Worth, but the trails for me brought so much healing to my life because it was a place where I could be vulnerable. It was a place where I felt connected. It was a place where I felt like I wasn't going to be bothered or judged. It was a place where I can put out every emotion, every emotional release. I can do that. But a lot of us, I'm going to just be real, and I say this a lot to y'all, but a lot of us, we just want things to just disappear without putting in any effort towards it. We want just healing to take place without putting ourselves around environments of healing. We want healing to take place without actually confronting the reality of our pain. And so you have to have these things in your life that really help you. Last but not least, I had to swim with faith. It's my fourth thing. And this was the most important thing. It was scriptures that carried me through. It was books that carried me through. It was quotes that carried me through and still carry me through to this day. You got to have those reminders that you see. Those reminders that let you know hard times don't last forever. Those reminders that let you know things will get better. Those reminders that let you know that this is the beauty of life. You know, when we think about this, when we think about death, and I think we're so afraid to die because none of us have done it. It's the unfamiliar. But death is not the end. Death is the beginning. And so for me, with my perspective with my mother, I realized, like, wait a minute, I've been praying for healing. I've been praying for her to be free. But selfishly, I'm thinking that the healing means that she stays here, that the freedom means that she's here. No, now my mom is healed forever. This is perspective. Now she's free. Now she's free. Even though I want to talk to her physically, even though I want her to be here, even though I want her to come over and see my house that she never got to see, the things that I've done this year that she never got to see. But I know she sees it. I know she's still with me because I can feel her spiritually more than ever. And so you watching this right now, when you're going through your seasons of grief that come and that they go, understand that death is a part of life. Death is the beginning of life. I truly believe that. We are all just spirits, y'all. This is just our temple. This is just our temple. Some of us beat us. My grandmother told me this, man. Oh, it just came to my heart. My grandmother told me this. I talked to my grandmother the week before 5 days before she died. She was actually helping me with my mother's death. Literally, my grandmother, she was telling me, and she said, Trent, you know what, baby? And oh, man. She said, your mom just beat us going to where we all got to go. And those words, man, has stuck with me forever. The person that you lost, that it doesn't seem fair, maybe it's not fair, it might be a kid, it just beat us going to where we all got to go. So I want you to hold on to this. I saw this quote the other day. It's not a quote, but somebody said, there's no end, right? And that meant energy never dies. There's no end. And I truly believe that, man. We never die. We might die here, but we have to die in order to live, in order to be reborn again, in order to, what's up, y'all? Thanks for the stars. And so these things, man, have really helped me. You know what I mean? Just to kind of add to this a little bit, and I'm all over the place, y'all, because I'm trying to give y'all as much value as I can. But also, for me, with regret, this is just some tactical things that's helped me. And I do it to this day. Every time I think about, I wish I would have. Because regret is poison to your soul. And some of us, unfortunately, we live in a regret that we can't change. How do you turn your regret into rejoice? You have to. If you want to turn your grief into greatness, you got to turn your regret into rejoice. So every time I think about, dang, I wish I would have. Dang, I should have picked up that phone call. Dang, I didn't answer that text. Dang, I shouldn't have yelled at her. Dang, I shouldn't have did this. Every time of that, because I'm going to tell you something. For you guys that are feeling guilty, there is no amount of perfection you could have provided that would have made you feel like you've done enough. I'm going to tell you that right now. You can always find a reason on why you should regret something, even if you gave perfection to it. So to turn your regret into your rejoice, simply do this. Every time you think about, man, I wish I would have, say, man, I'm glad I got to. Just like I told you with perspective. Every time you say, man, I wish I would have, say, I'm glad I got to. Man, I wish I would have picked up that phone. Man, I'm glad I got to talk to them 100 times before that. Man, I wish I would have took them out to dinner. Man, I'm glad for the dinners that I did have with them. Man, I wish I would have said I loved them one more time. Man, I'm glad I got to say I loved them so many times. That's how you turn your regret into rejoice. Also, for a lot of us, right, we think that we lost. You think that you lost. Man, I lost my mom. I lost this. I lost that. And I said that word just for the sake of us understanding today's live. But I want you to reframe your mindset around that. I want you to change your language. You didn't lose anything. You gained. You didn't lose a person. You gained an angel. You didn't lose your son or your daughter, your mom or your dad, your auntie or your uncle or your grandma or your grandpa. You didn't lose. You gained. Yes, I might have lost my mother physically, but I gained her spiritually. Yeah, I might have lost certain things with my mother on this earth, but you know what? My mother's presence is with me more than ever. I gained that. Because they say loss is gain. So what did you gain in the process? What did you gain from this? Maybe you gained a protection, a hedge of protection that's now watching you more than ever. What did you gain? Because if you always think about you lost, your mind is going to think about lack. Your mind is going to think about lack. You didn't lose. You gained. In order to turn your grief into your greatness, I want y'all to hear me this. If you heard nothing from this live tonight, what's up, baby?
I like you.
Okay. If you heard nothing from this live tonight, I want you to hear this, okay? Don't leave. Hear this. Because this is one of the best ways to turn your grief into greatness. I want you to think about this for a second. And this is the biggest game changer for me in my season, y'all. Like, every person that I've gained as an angel, I think about this with them. No matter, it could have been my best friend that committed suicide. It could have been all my grandparents. It could have been my friends in high school. It could have been my mom. It could have been people that I know. I always think about this, and it's a game changer, man. And this helps my life so much. I want you to think about this in your life right now. And I know this might be hard to picture, and I don't want to put any fear in your heart. I just want to put reality on your mind, right? None of us are going to be here forever. None of us are. We can leave some here that lives forever, but physically, we all got to check out at some point. I want you to ask yourself this question. When you pass away, do you want to be the reason why somebody else becomes depressed? Just think about that for a moment. When you pass away, do you want to be the reason why somebody else gives up on life?
Hey, what's up, rehabs across the world? Trent here. Thank you for watching our new video. I hope it impacted your life. Listen, we're impacting lives all across the world. I want you to know this. It's because of you. It's because of you supporting the messages and sharing the messages. And speaking about sharing the messages, if this video touched your heart, if it's on your heart, please press share, because I promise you this, there's somebody in the world right now that needs to watch this video. And by you pressing share, you become a hero in their life. I get messages every single day say, Trent, I had no idea what rehab time was yesterday, but my friend shared the video. I saw it on the timeline, and man, did I need it. We're gonna continue to impact the world only with your help. We appreciate you. But like I say at the end of every single video, it all starts with you. It's rehab time.